When you have an intention about who you want to be, it's much easier to do the things that you need to do to be the person that you want to be. There's this internal drive, this desire to improve and move towards something that is going to improve and enhance your life. Whereas doing feels like I've just got to get it done. Welcome to Work Life by Design. I'm your host, Mel Marsden. If the last few years have taught us anything, it's that change is inevitable and we no longer need to go to work to work. As a workplace dynamic strategist and the founder of COMUNiTI, I draw back the curtains on my own business, the clients and projects that we deliver, along with tapping into the knowledge and insights from academics, business leaders and champions of change. I believe that our environments have the power to positively influence our behaviour and performance, inspiring our human potential. Hello and welcome back to another season of Work Life by Design. So we are up to season 7 and just want to say thank you for coming back here and joining me again this season. I did promise you in 2024 2 seasons of the podcast, but I needed to take a little break and I'm going to share with you why in a few minutes. But I'm really grateful that you're here and that you've come back because I've got some really exciting things lined up for this season. And I've been inspired by Brené Brown's recent series on her podcast, which was all about what's on her heart and on her mind. And so over the last 12 months, I've done a lot of thinking about where I'm heading with my business and my life. And I want to share a lot of that with you. And the great thing about this season of the podcast is being inspired by that concept of what's on my heart and mind. I really get to share with you some of the exciting things that I have been exploring and learning through that process. And so after the last 12 months, I have experienced burnout. I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. I had gut health issues. I was literally exhausted. And so I have been on a fairly significant healing journey. And I'm going to share all this with you in a future episode of the podcast because it's something that as I've started to discuss this with people and let them know what's been happening behind the scenes, I have been asked to share this because I think it's something that needs to be talked about. I don't think that we talk about this enough. I think that we all, particularly as women, suffer in silence without talking about these things. So I'm going to share with you my journey, and I'm in a place where I now feel I can do that because I'm out the other side. I'm certainly not 100% cleared and fixed and all of the things, but I have made a significant amount of progress, and I want to share with you that it is possible, what it looked like when I started that journey, how I was actually feeling, what led me to even exploring that possibility in the first place, and how I've got to where I am today, which I'm feeling 100% better. I am so full of energy, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. So what that's helped me do, though, I think is really focus and become so clear on what I want from 2025. And I want to share all of that with you in this season of the podcast. So this season, you can expect conversations around body burnout, what it looks like, why you're burned out, and what you can actually do to navigate your way out of that, because it is absolutely possible. We're going to be talking about neurodiversity and what it looks like in the workplace. This has become a pretty hot conversation amongst a lot of my clients, exploring this, wondering what this looks like for them in their workplaces and what they can do from a workplace design perspective to support that. So we're going to be diving into that. And the other one that I really want to touch on is how we can return to this sense of community. And that was what the entire previous season 6 of the podcast was about, was around community. How do we build community? How do we foster community in our workplaces? But I'm going to take this on a slightly different angle this time. I want to start looking at back and seeing what we can actually learn from looking back at past generations, at different nationalities, and how they approach community, and what we can learn from embracing routine, ritual, and rites of passage into our lives, and how we can then meld that and blend that into our day-to-day lives, but also our workplaces. I hope that you find these really interesting because these are things that I find fascinating, and I weave them into the work that I do, and I'd love to share them with you, and hopefully that you find them just as interesting and just as fascinating as I do too. So I just want to share a moment with you though first before we dive into today's episode. And it kind of is all linked together. And it was really about this year where I'm going to be focusing my attention and how we're moving forward. And I had a real pinch me moment earlier last week. And what I realized is I have literally created the business of my dreams. 3 years ago, I sat down and I scribbled out a bubble diagram on a piece of paper and said, these are the things that I want to be doing in my career and with my business and my life. And I've been working towards that. Piece by piece, gradually, I have been working towards that. And I've now literally created that. I have a business that is spacious, it's expansive, it's joyful, it's easeful. Some of these words might even sound really familiar because if you have been following along with the podcast for a while, these are words that I've actually used as my intention and goal setting for the year ahead. And I'm going to share with you in this episode what my intention is for this year, how I've got there, what it's going to mean, and how creating these intentions can actually start to move the needle on our lives and on our careers and our businesses when we are putting our intention in a direction, and then how that then helps us focus our attention in that direction to enable us to move forward progressively, piece by piece, inch by inch, to get to where we actually really, really, really want to be going. And so that was pretty exciting for me to realize that I have literally created this business that I had been dreaming of, that I had been working towards. So COMUNiTI is a workplace strategy, design advisory, and change leadership studio. And over the last 12 months, we have really been able to lean into the work that I know that I and the team are actually making the most meaningful contribution. This is where we are creating the greatest impact in the work that we're doing with our clients, because we know that this is the work that needs to be done out there. And so we've created this business model that supports organizations to really deeply understand what is it the problem that they're trying to solve. You know, we come in and a lot of times an organization can go, we need a new workplace. So let's start with the first thing we do is we start with a floor plan. But we can't start with designing a workplace if we do not understand the design of work itself. So we really need to understand, what is this organization needing to do? What is it that their people are needing to do? How are they working? How could they better work? What are ways that we could optimize their workflow patterns and their routines and their rituals and the process of work? What is the actual purpose of this workplace? Why are we even asking people to come here in the first place? So when we can really deeply understand that, then we can start to create an environment that supports that. And then our process for then taking our clients through that design advisory piece is it means that we get to sit over the process. We get to sit with the client on their side of the table and help them make the right decisions for their organization as they step through the design, the documentation, and the delivery process. Because a lot of the time, little tiny decisions can be made along the way that can throw a whole project completely off course. They can so move away from their strategy without even knowing it, just by all these little micro decisions. And so our experience in holding the course and guiding the client through that decision-making process ensures that that strategy remains true, that the integrity of that strategy is retained throughout the course of that entire life cycle. But this is the bit then that really excites me, is this is where the change leadership steps in. This is where we get to support the people in those organizations to really understand themselves, the way that they work, the way that they experience change, what this is going to mean for them, how they can embrace it, how they can maximize this potential for them and themselves and the way that they want to work in their own careers, and how we can really then optimize this workplace to support everybody in the organization, every individual and the organization as a whole. And that's what absolutely excites me so much, is that this is the work that we get to do. We get to help organizations do that. And what I've realized is that I have literally created everything that I have needed to run my business. Everything that we need to operate exists in our business. And so this year we get to focus on just delivering it. doing the work, going out there, working with the clients, seeing them thrive, seeing them succeed, because everything that we've needed to do behind the scenes has been done. All the systems and processes there, all the templates, all of the information that we need to deliver the best value work that we can to our clients, it's been done. And so that is like the most exciting thing, because now we can really just focus on doing the work. We're not having to worry about all these little behind the scenes projects to optimize the business or to make it run more smoothly or to focus our attention on anything else. We've actually got all of that there. And because that's all there, what that's meant is I've got so much more capacity. And so alongside this, I'm getting to build out my business coaching side of the business. I'm getting to support more and more women building and creating and leading businesses that light them up. You know, I want them to see them doing their soul desired, heart-led work. And because when we do that, it's just absolute magic. This is the stuff that really lights my fire, because I get to see other women creating and building and operating these businesses that they absolutely love, they enjoy. Now, none of this happened by chance. I have done a lot of work behind the scenes to make this happen. And I'm going to share more of that in this next episode that I'm going to share with you around my health journey, because there's so much of it actually has to do with that. It's been a big process of unpacking a lot of things around my life that have led me down particular paths, but I'll share more of that with you in that next episode. But what I want to really share with you now is that without a solid foundation of your health, your business will never truly thrive. And that's something that I have learnt the hard way, but it is something that is so, so true. And I've learnt this before, and clearly it didn't stick because I've had to go back and learn this again. But this is one of the things that we as business owners and leaders really need to think about, because without our health, we do not have a business. We are not able to lead our teams. Sure, it might hold together for a while. You know, you kind of have some loyalty from your people. They'll back you for a while. They'll hold the ship together while you sort yourself out. But that's not going to last the longer term. Those things are only temporary fixes. They're like Band-Aids. So you really need to be thinking more strategically about your own health and how you are going to optimize that and manage that, because you need it as a stable foundation for the operation of your business. So in January, I actually held my business planning day, and this was an intimate group of 12 beautiful women who I brought together to help them get really clear on their business. And a big part of that was really focusing on their own sustainability plan. Now, if you haven't heard of the concept of a sustainability plan, I actually heard a podcast and they were talking about what is the first thing that happens when the Prime Minister steps into his new office. So Prime Minister's been appointed. The very first activity that happens is that HR come in and they sit down with the Prime Minister and they start talking about their sustainability plan. What is it that they're going to do to ensure that they can maintain their performance throughout the term of their office? Now, this is really important because as the Prime Minister, there is going to be a lot of things that you need to deal with. That means that you could literally be working 24/7. But if you're going to do that, you're going to burn out and you're going to be of no use to anybody. So how can you ensure that you're putting boundaries around your time, that you're taking care of yourself, that those big rocks around the things that are going to need to be done for you are getting done first? And that's what is really important about creating a sustainability plan. It means evaluating your energy management plan and how you're going to create this really solid foundation for your success. And that is what we went through in the planning day to really get that solid foundation in place. And that means, you're looking at your sleep, you're looking at your nutrition, your exercise, your movement, your self-care. There's a full framework there about what it is that you need to do to ensure that you are looking after you first, so that you can then be there for your team and for your business. And so for the last 12 months, it's barely been about me getting so super clear on what my sustainability plan looks like. And the result of doing that is that I now have so much more capacity to be able to hold all of this without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like I'm being suffocated or constricted by it. It's just given me so much more space and I can breathe. And that has just been one of the most incredible feelings to be able to bring into my life. Now, in preparation for that planning day, of course, I went and did all of my own planning and did all of my pre-work across both my life and in my business. So in my life side of things, I use my Life by Design framework, because what that helps is it helps me really evaluate what is working, what's not, and get really super clear on what I want to actually take forward in my life and what I want to leave behind. And it's not just about what I want to do right now and not right now in the next 6 months or 12 months. It's thinking about the longer term future. What do I really want my life to look like on that longer term horizon? And what shifts and changes do I need to be making right now to make that possible? Because when you do that, you can then start to work backwards. And this then helps you define your intentions for that next 12 months. Now, I really deliberately use the word intentions over goals, because when I think about intentions, what they enable me to do is think about who I actually want to be. Whereas when I think about goals, they're things that I have to do. And this has been a bit of a mindset shift for me, particularly over this last 12 months too, is that for me, it's not about more doing. For me, it's about more being. Who do I want to be? And how can I then take that persona of that person that I want to be and embed that into my everyday life? Because I also feel that when you have an intention about who you want to be, it's much easier to do the things that you need to do to be the person that you want to be. Whereas when you say, I've got a goal and I have to do these things, it feels like a task list. It feels like someone's telling you that you have to do something. There's no intrinsic motivation. Whereas when you want to be someone, there's this internal drive, this desire to improve and move towards something that is going to improve and enhance your life. Whereas doing feels like I've just got to get it done. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say we take your health and we want to think about physical well-being. And so typically if you were going to set a goal, you might say, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week and I'm going to be really focused on the food that I'm eating. Now, they are things of very practical actions, but they are doing things. Whereas if you flip that and you start with thinking about how you actually want to feel, then you can start to change the approach. So let's take this for example. If I want to feel energized, healthy, bouncy, glowy, content in my own body and feeling very nurtured, then it's going to start to change how I start to think about myself. And when I start to think about that's the way I actually want to feel, then I'm going to change the way that I potentially am going to experience life or the way that I'm going to approach things. So if I think about it that way, I might start to think, well, I'm actually going to be much more conscious of the food that I'm going to eat. And I'm going to be a lot more aware of the way in which I'm going to move my body. Because if I'm thinking about the food that I'm putting into my system and I'm thinking about the way that I'm moving my body, then that's going to enable to me to feel more energized and more healthy and more bouncy and glowy. So then we think about, well, what kind of person might be more conscious of their food and might be more aware of the way that they move their body? And for me, that was being more invested in my personal health and my well-being and really starting to see myself as a priority. So you can see how when I started to think about how I wanted to feel, the experience that I wanted to have of that, it really started to shift then who I needed to be. And then you can start to think, well, what are the things that I need to do? Well, if I'm going to be this person who's invested in my personal health and my well-being and start to see myself as a priority, I'm going to establish a morning routine and I'm going to schedule in my exercise. So I'm going to make that a priority in my calendar, block it in, put the rocks in there, and I'm going to do that. That's one of the things I'm going to do. I might also start to prepare a weekly meal plan so that I can be more organized with the food that I am going to be consuming because I'm no longer grabbing things on the run. I know exactly what's happening ahead of time. I can do a grocery shop. I can meal prep. I can do those things because I'm invested in seeing myself as a priority. So I'm going to make time for those things. And the last thing I might do is I might take my lunch to work because then I'm not grabbing takeaway or other things. I'm really, again, feeling into that weekly meal plan and consciously doing that. So that's just an example of how shifting your focus from doing things to thinking about who you want to be and taking an intention in different parts of your life can start to shift your focus around how you're going to show up and the value that you put on yourself, and therefore how you then see yourself as a priority in your sustainability plan. Now, this is just one example of the way that I approach my planning each year. What I do is I look at this and I find usually 4 to 5 areas of my life where I want to put some more effort and energy into, and I then create these intentions for each part of those of my life and what I want to see as my greatest level of change across those areas. But the next thing I actually do is I look at all of that and I go, okay, well, what is there going to be one word that's going to sit and overarch over the top of all of this? This is my overarching intention. This is my bigger vision and my grounding word for the year. So as I mentioned earlier, in some of my years previously, the word spacious has been there. Expansive. I wanted to feel this, infinite possibility. That was one of my words. And that's how I've started to work towards it. And it's coming true in my life as we speak right now. So I want to share with you what my word is for this year and how I see it guiding me and how it can then help you guide you through your next 12 months. So the word that I've chosen as my overarching intention for 2025 is mastery. Now, for me, mastery is all about the journey. It's about the everyday experiences on the road to becoming who you want to be. So again, it's very much about this intentionality. It's not about the destination. It's not about achieving something or ticking something off or doing something. It's about this way of being. And for me, mastery is this idea of it's not about being the best. It's not about being perfect. It's not about perfectionism. It's not about having all the answers. It's really about this concept of experimenting, exploring, failing, and learning along the way. It's this idea of becoming a student, that you're approaching the world with curiosity. You're open to new ideas and new experiences, and you're learning and you're absorbing these things and forever mastering and honing your craft. There's always more to learn. There's always a way to shift or flow or change or develop yourself and your career. And so then this word is helping me to become better and move closer every single day by leaning into this idea of mastery, of becoming that little bit better every day. And it's not about perfection. It's about progress. How can I keep moving the needle? And I really feel like it's a true depth to our skills and something that we can experience across all aspects of our lives. So, when we're approaching our life as a student with this sense of curiosity and an open mind, we're forever then being really malleable to the lessons that life is going to be giving us, and we can continue to grow. And it's really leaning into this idea of a growth mindset. So that's what I'm really focusing on this year. That's going to be my intention. And to embrace this concept of mastery, I'm really starting to explore the parts of my life and my business where I can really continue to learn and I continue to evolve. Now, this word usually takes a little while for it to land for me. Some years it's taken me a couple of weeks into the new year before I've really settled on a particular word to guide me. Last year, my word was kintsugi, which was all about the Japanese philosophy of embracing imperfection. And now they repair broken pottery with gold, these seams of gold. And it was about really embracing all of the parts of me, all of it, and making that one whole again. And that has led me on that journey. And that word served me beautifully last year, particularly as I was navigating all of those health challenges, and how it supported that intentionality of, no, I'm bringing all of this back together. I'm making this whole again. The thing that happened this year is that this word landed really, really quickly for me. Like before the end of the year, I already had this word and I thought, that feels a bit too good to be true, a bit too easy. So I sat with it. And the more I sat with it, the more it felt right for this year. So this year I'm really leaning into it. And what I also found this year that was very different is that this whole intention setting process, my whole process of reviewing and reevaluating and reorientating my life that I do every January, this year it just felt really easy. It felt so aligned. Now, I've been doing this process for around 10 years now, and the last few years I've felt like there have been less dramatic shifts and less dramatic reorientations. And so this year I really hardly needed to change a thing, because what I realized was that last year was just so beautiful, and the intentions and the places that I'm putting my attention in my life are exactly where I want them to be. And so it was more like, I just want more of that. Just give me more of that. So this year has actually been really in flow. It has been really easeful. It's been joyful because I haven't needed to go and reinvent the wheel. What I'm discovering is that with each year, I'm just softening and leaning more and more into the life that I have been dreaming of and the life that I have been working towards and attempting to create. And that's just beautiful. Like, I'm becoming more and more skilled and more knowledgeable and just more aligned with what it is that I want to be doing and the life that I want to be living. And it's a life that I love, and I would absolutely choose it again and again. And so I suppose my message here is, if this is something that you want to, like if you want to create a life that you absolutely love and that just feels like you want more and more and more of exactly what it was that you've experienced in the last 12 months, then I highly recommend starting with my Live a Life by Design experience. You can do that as a self-guided 6-week program. It's all video trainings. There's a beautiful workbook. When you buy the guided experience, you get an at-home retreat pack with a playlist. You can create this beautiful experience for yourself to take you through and really reflect on the life that you have, imagine the life that you want to create, and then put the actionable steps in place to make it happen. And as I said, doing this process year on year on year is slowly, and maybe even more dramatically for you. Maybe I'm a slow learner and you can get there a lot quicker than I can, but getting to where you want to be. And it's about taking those integral steps to making that happen. Now, if you feel like your life is exactly where you want it and you're ready to take this and apply this same magic in your business, then let's chat, because that's it, absolutely what I want to be doing. And what I want us to be supporting you with is creating a business and a life and a career that absolutely lights you up and excites you each and every day, and it doesn't feel like a slog and it's not burning you out. I want you to feel this expansive capacity, because that's something that I have got now. I have so much more capacity this year. And so with that, I'm opening up more private coaching clients this year. So this is your opportunity to work with me for 6 months, one-on-one, developing your own career plan or building out your business that's going to be so aligned and soul-led that it will just feel like the perfect match for you. And so some of the women that I've supported in the past have been either navigating career transitions where they've been wanting to leave their corporate life and start their businesses. Maybe they've been stepping up in their existing career and taking on that next level of promotion and looking for the confidence to really do that well. Because I know for myself and, for these women that I've been coaching, is that it's the self-confidence. It's the knowing yourself well enough to be able to step into that role and know that you are making the right decisions. And so the process that I support you through is just helping you get to know yourself so much better, aligning your values, clearly identifying and setting your purpose, knowing what it is that you want from your life, and then taking the actionable steps to make it happen. Because when you can set your life up and it is aligned with where you want to be going, then everything else will fall into place. The career will start to work around that. The business will start to work around that. You then start to work on the operations or the marketing strategy or your financial plan, all of the other parts that you need to put your attention towards. Once you have your life set and you know where you want to be going, it's so much clearer. It becomes so much easier to do that. And so that's one way. The other way that you can work with me is through a VIP strategy day. So this is going to be a deep dive, intensive, and we're going to be really moving through a lot of those blocks that you've got. So whether it's in your life or it's in your business, I'll be working with you one-on-one intensively in a one-day session where we can really unpack everything in your business and move through what your individual challenges are going to be. So they are two ways that you can be working with me one-on-one over the next year. But that's only the start of some of the really exciting things that I have lined up for you this coming year. So I'm also going to be hosting the planning day again. So that's going to be happening again in June. And that's going to be a day where you are going to get to spend the day with me, with 12 amazing women in a really intimate setting. We are going to be unpacking your business and really connecting back to what lights your soul on fire. We forget why we get into business in the first place. This is your opportunity to reconnect with who you are, what you want, where you want your business to go, and then create an actionable plan that is soul aligned to create a business that is going to light you up. And the feedback from those sessions was just incredible. So jump down to the show notes. There'll be a link there. You can go through, you can join the waitlist for the June session. There's information about the entire session, what's included, plus also some testimonials there on the women that attended the one in January. And I really want that for you. If you are looking to really expand your business and your life, this is where you can start. If you can't wait for then, join me in a one-to-one coaching session or a VIP strategy day. They're there as well. But this is the big one that I am so excited about. This is the Exhale Retreat. Now, this retreat has been on my vision board for years and it's finally happening. I previously did not have the capacity to hold the space to be able to bring this to you, but all of that has changed with my own journey and where I'm at right now. And so we are finally doing this. This retreat is happening. So put this date in your calendar. It is October the 24th to the 26th, 2025. We will be going to the beautiful Tweed Valley where you will be able to just soak up nature at its finest and just unwind. So this retreat is for women who have been constantly inhaling, holding it all together, doing all the things, looking after the kids, running the businesses, leading the teams, climbing the corporate ladder. This is your moment to just exhale. It's a space where you can just switch off, you can turn inward, and you can reconnect with your heart and your soul and release that breath that you have been holding. What I have realized through my own personal experience over the last 12 months is how disconnected we have become from ourselves as women. We are so busy doing all the things for everybody else that we have forgotten to take care of ourselves. We have forgotten how to listen to ourselves. We have forgotten how to nurture ourselves. So over 3 glorious days, I am going to be holding the space for you along with some other beautiful facilitators who are going to be sharing all of their knowledge, their experiences with you to help you take that moment for yourself. It's an invitation for you to pause and to just exhale, to soften and relax everything in your body and to return home to yourself and learn how to reconnect with yourself again, to remember what it is that you want and you dreamt from this life. And I'm going to do that by giving you some beautiful experiences to help just release all of that tension that you have been holding in your body, to give you some knowledge on how you can work through this, put some words to some of the things that perhaps you're experiencing and then show you a path out of it, but also to help you just reconnect with yourself and to remember what it is that you want and then give you the tools on how you can go forth and create that as you leave and re-enter back into the world. So I am so excited to create this space for you. As I said, it has been something that I have been wanting to do for a number of years, and I feel like I now really can do that. I can share it from a place of knowing, of having been there and walking out the other side. And I am seeing so many of my clients, my friends, my colleagues experiencing this overwhelm to the point where we have just completely forgotten and lost touch with our bodies. We're not listening to them. So all of those little niggles they are not being acknowledged until your body is absolutely screaming at you and you can no longer silence it. And I know because I did it. I was in that place, but I want to help you. I want to make sure that you don't get to that point. So if this sounds like something that inspires you and you want to be part of, please, again, head down to the show notes. There's a link there to take you over to the Exhale Retreat page. You can read more about it there and you can save your seat. I would love to welcome you into it. It's going to be a beautiful, intimate experience. You're really going to get to reconnect with nature and to yourself in this environment. And this is the big one for me this year. I am so looking forward to it. This is the retreat that I wanted. And so I've made it just for you. So I'd love it if you could join me. So if you're ready to reimagine your business or your workplace this year, or you really just want to create a place that feels so aligned with your purpose and your values, then let's chat, because this is what I'm here for. I love supporting women in business to create businesses that they absolutely love, that they have careers that they love, that they have a life that they love. And when I get to do that with organizations, I just get to do that tenfold. The ripple impact of working with an organization to reconnect the people with the purpose, to create an environment that really supports them and nourishes them, that is the work that I get to do. And it is the work that I love to do. So if that's something that resonates with you and I can help with you, please get in touch. Send me an email, melissa@comuniti.com.au. So that's COMUNITI.com.au. Come over and follow me on Instagram. I'm at Melma on Instagram, or join me over at LinkedIn. You'll find me under Melissa Marsden there. I look forward to connecting with you more, and I hope to see you in person at one of these beautiful events or coaching very, very soon. Until then, have a beautiful day, and I look forward to sharing the next part of the journey with you in next week's episode, and I'll dive into that then. But until then, have a beautiful day.